Contracts for teachers, the school's proposed $60.3 million budget, and forward motion for solar energy. These stories and more on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Monday, March 18th, 2013. I'm Sarah Colvin. A contract deal for Barnstable teachers has been reached. Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Marichkowski, says negotiations are over.
We had been negotiating for approximately 6 to 7 months, and we finally reached an agreement that I think both parties feel is good, especially in these times, these economic times. To be able to settle a contract always for a superintendent is a good sign that we have a good collaborative working relationship and we can work to resolve these kind of issues. And it includes both the teachers, it includes in the bargaining unit, the Teachers Association, all of the teachers, as well as the extras, the paraprofessional staff, and the administrative assistants. So we're working on the administrator's contract, and hopefully we'll have an agreement there shortly as well. But very, very pleased.
The proposed $60.3 million school budget for fiscal 2014 was up for a public hearing last week. Superintendent Dr. Chkowski talks about the budget and the hearing.
We had good showing of teachers, that actually came out, and they're very, demonstrates their passion, their commitment to the work they're doing. And, I know controversially there was a few items there that they wanted the prevention specialist assistants to remain in the budget. And one of the changes I'm looking to make for next year is adding school counselors to each elementary school. And currently we have what we call prevention specialist positions, and then we also have prevention specialist assistant positions. And these are the assistant positions that I'm looking to reduce, and we have approximately 7 of them throughout our elementary schools. And I'm a proponent of having people, certified and qualified in the positions, and it has nothing to do with, their performance or their interactions with our families and our students that they've been working very closely with. It's a matter of, these times we're facing students that are at risk for a number of issues. Yeah. And I think having a certified, qualified, whether it be a school counselor or a school social worker in that position to deal with some of these situations, I think is really important. And last week I attended an essential health services grant with our new school nurse leader, Pam Siborowski, and it was with other superintendents as well as nurse leaders. And 10 years, 15 years ago, we didn't have the challenges that we're facing now with students around mental illness, around substance abuse, around diabetes, a number of medically related, health issues, as well as, social issues, emotional issues. And I think it's important to have, certified, qualified staff dealing with these, challenging situations.
Dr. Chkowski says she's hoping to beef up technology in our schools.
We put money in there through the capital budget. As you know, that we have a 3.56% increase, and it's really, that includes some of the reserves around school choice money that we've allotted for technology. And I know it can be saved for another time, but we have something coming on called PARC, which is online assessments for students. That it's no longer going to be a pencil and a paper test for students. They're going to have to take this assessment online, and we have to prepare for that. We need to ensure that we have the infrastructure and the technology available for students to take online tests. So that's another piece of the budget that we're planning for, but that's through a capital improvement and also in our operating budget, adding in some school choice reserves to be able to, have wireless technology throughout our building so that when we are purchasing devices, students can access technology. So those are the only other 2 areas.
Dr. Chkowski says she's also hoping to make some needed repairs in the school buildings.
Times were tough several years ago. Whenever budgets get cut, it usually is the maintenance, the facilities, and our equipment is outdated, and the maintenance crew doesn't have the appropriate equipment. So be able to spruce up our schools, make sure our hallways, we're working on the exterior as well as the interior around some painting that's being done. And so, infrastructure-wise, we put in a couple of statements of interest around our roofs for BIS and BUES. So there's a number of projects with our new director of facilities on board, a number of projects that we're working on.
The school committee will further discuss the budget when it meets again in early April. Well, substance abuse and risky behavior in teenagers is a concern for parents in our communities. The town of Sandwich recently issued a survey to students asking about things like drug abuse, alcohol, and sexual behavior. The results tell administrators and families that more needs to be done. 5th Barnstable State Representative Randy Hunt serves on the State Committee on Mental Health and Substance Abuse. He'll be at an event tonight at Sandwich Town Hall. He gives us a preview.
On the second floor in the recently renovated theater there, and we're going to have a panel to discuss risky behaviors amongst our youth, as you mentioned. One of those areas that will be talked about, is related to drug abuse. But there are other areas as well that this survey that recently was taken last fall, I guess, by the students at Sandwich High School. There are several other areas that they talked about in that survey, including depression, including sexual behavior and things like that. So the risky behavior umbrella includes drug abuse, which I've been very much involved with on Cape Cod, but it goes into other areas. So what's going to happen is we'll have a relatively well-renowned person, Jeff Wolfsburg, who is a drug education specialist, to be the moderator at this event tonight. And it's going to be in a town hall forum, meaning that there will be a lot of open question and answers amongst the panel of people that are there. And the Sandwich Substance Abuse Prevention Task Force is going to have a big part of this as well. But we will go over the results of the survey that was taken last fall, which has some pretty interesting points.
Residents in all Cape communities are invited to attend Creating a Community Aware, Engaged, and Addressing Youth Risky Behavior. That's the name of the event. It takes place on the second floor of Sandwich Town Hall at 6:30 tonight. Well, the effort to increase the number of solar panels in Barnstable continues. The town is working with the Cape and Vineyard Electric Cooperative on a project to bring solar panels to the Cap landfill at the transfer station in Marston's Mills. Energy Coordinator Richard Ulrich says an important hurdle has been crossed.
The project had qualified for its net metering benefits and for this what's called the IRS 1603 cash grant. This was very important. There's something called a net metering queue. Net metering essentially allows the producer of renewable energy to sell it any excess energy back to the utility. So in our case, we're able to sell the production at that location on the Cap landfill back to the utility grid at the full retail rate. Without the net metering program, the excess electricity or any electricity produced would only be able to be sold back at the wholesale rate. So this is a hugely important element for the financing of the project and for the developers of the project to recoup their investment and to get the maximum benefit from it. So this is very, very good. We are hopefully going to have the project done by the end of the year. That's an important part of meeting the requirements of the net metering program. So we're very excited about where the Round 1 Cap Landfill project is. Again, as we've talked many times, it's a slow process, lots of roadblocks, but we're very excited about that. That was a crucial point to have achieved, and so we're feeling pretty
Ulrich
good.
anticipates the solar panels at the transfer station will be in place by the end of the year. Meanwhile, the Renewable Energy Commission meets tonight at 5:30 in the Selectmen's Conference Room. They'll talk about the solid waste and recycling survey that's out now, as well as a discussion of costs associated with pay as you throw. That meeting will air live on Channel 18. You can find the agenda online at town.barnstable.ma.us. With Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Colvin.